This is the Scary Movie Clubcast.
Live from Cold Harbor Battlefield, it is Scary Movie Clubcast. This is Nadine,
Amanda,
Mackenzie,
Megan,
and Dahmer.
And tonight we watched Interview with a Vampire. I personally would give it like 4.7 living dolls.
Yeah, let's say 4.5 little girls turned into dolls.
I'd say like 4.8 living dolls.
I'm gonna go with 4.7 living dolls.
Oh, maybe 3.5 living dolls.
We have come to another ooky spooky location for you guys, and Amanda is going to give us some of the history of Cold Harbor Battlefield.
Okay, so we've taken some time to walk around, so you guys have seen a bit of it, but this location is best known for the Battle of Cold Harbor, which was fought in the American Civil War from May 31st to June 12th, 1864. So we're here right around like the anniversary of when it ended.
Yeah, we're just like a day late, basically.
Yeah, with the most significant fighting occurring on June 3rd. It was also the location of the Battle of Gainesville Mill during the 7 Days Battle in 1862, so a few years before there had been Civil War battles, and then they came back and there was like still corpses here. So Union soldiers were disturbed to discover skeletal remains from the first battle while entrenched there in 1864. It is one of American history's bloodiest, most lopsided battles. The Union's Lieutenant General and future President Ulysses S. Grant's army was pretty much crushed by the Confederates' Robert E. Lee's army. Basically, Grant was coming to the end of his overland campaign when his army took and held control of Cold Harbor on May 31st. It was an important position because it's 10 miles outside of the Confederate capital of Richmond.
You guys hear that?
The gunshots?
No,
I don't think
I
there's
One of
gunshots.
the things that people say, though, that they hear.
Or is it chopping?
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
It's getting close. Almost sounds closer.
But it's coming for you.
Did it not, though? Like, when it started again, it
Sort
almost
of.
sounded a little
It
bit
does
closer.
sound- Yeah.
It sounds like a gun to me. Even though I know it's not
Could
one.
be a lot of
When also chopping what?
Wood?
Wow.
Like cut down a
Maybe
tree?
construction.
On a Sunday?
They
If-
do construction on a Sunday.
They'll do construction every day.
Yeah, they will.
I want to believe it's ghosts.
Okay, shortly after arriving on Old Cold Harbor, both sides received reinforcements, and on the evening of June 1st, fighting broke out. At first, things looked good for the Union, but by the 2nd of June, the Confederates had built a series of fortifications 7 miles long, and from the 3rd of June to the 12th, the armies waged war. This is what Grant had to say about the battle in his personal memoir. I've always regretted that last assault at Cold Harbor was ever made. No advantage whatever was gained to compensate for the heavy loss we sustained. The battle...
Battle would even haunt him.
Yes. The battle caused a rise in anti-war sentiments in the North, giving way to Grant being called the fumbling butcher. For his poor decisions, and it lowered the morale among Union soldiers. But it worked to Grant's advantage overall because it was so near to Richmond. Lee was forced to focus his efforts on defending the capital and Petersburg, which was a crucial rail junction in the South. This combined with the taking of Atlanta backed the South into a proverbial corner, where they were forced to surrender. And so the Union Army lost somewhere between 10,000 to 13,000 men over the 12 days, and the Confederate Army lost between 2,500 to 5,200 soldiers. Wounded Federal soldiers were left on the battlefield for 4 days after the June 3rd assault.
Oh, in June.
Yeah.
And all that gear and stuff. Like, they didn't have gear, but they had like those.
They were wearing wool suits.
Yeah.
Kill me. I'd
Yeah.
rather be killed.
Yeah, and it was a big deal because, like, normally you wouldn't leave the dead out for that long. Like, it's disrespectful.
Too many.
Usually they'll, like, have a ceasefire and temporarily remove bodies, especially during that time. I mean, modern warfare isn't like that at all. There's no respect for the dead. But during this time, it was like, there was, like, a
Bigger deal.
gentleman's agreement, yeah, sort of thing. So, you might be wondering why Cold Harbor is called Cold Harbor. And that's not because it's near water or anything. We're, like, super landlocked.
That's not cold.
Yeah. It describes 2 rural crossroads named for Cold Harbor Tavern, which provided shelter, aka harbor,
That's where you get your ale, Mackenzie.
That's what I wanted. But no.
and but cold meals. So no hot food. I don't know what cold meals would have been in that time, but it
Sandwiches?
sounds awful.
It sounds like sandwiches to me.
Well, because it's like
Leftovers.
if you stayed in the tavern, you'd wake up and you'd get breakfast, but like it wouldn't be anything hot. So I don't know what they would feed you.
Leftovers.
Leftover grits.
Cold grits.
Cold grits
grits.
and biscuits.
Gross.
Biscuits?
They're not going to be hot. They're not going to be fresh.
During the battle, the tavern, which is no longer standing, was used as a hospital,
Sad.
and Garthright House was also used as a field hospital, and the exterior of which is now preserved. So
Yeah, which that's actually where we are right now, guys. We went and walked around Cold Harbor Battlefield, but it was a little loud, so we came over to Garthright House to record.
They only are preserving the outside?
I don't know what the inside looks like.
Well, it's got an air conditioning unit, so I have to
Yeah.
assume they're preserving the inside.
Well, I
as
don't know if it's preserved as it was in the day, like, or maybe it's been converted into offices or something. Who knows?
right.
They should make it like a little museum.
I wish we could go inside really bad.
Yeah. Cold Harbor was extensively photographed during and after the battle. And the Civil War, fun fact, was like the first time those at home saw images straight from the battlefield, and it was pretty commonplace practice to stage battlefield photos and move corpses of fallen soldiers to get a better composition.
That is not right.
This was most notably done by Alexander Gardner after the Battle of Gettysburg.
Guess that's what you gotta do when you don't have your Instagram filters.
Well, yeah, he also got there like a few days late, and he was like, they were pretty disgusting looking, and he's like, these don't even look human anymore. And so he took the best looking ones and like moved them, and so there's like this one corpse that appears in like a bunch of his photos, and that's how you know they were faked, because you can tell it's the same person every time.
That is so gross that
sort
he's
of.
Dragging around some dead body.
of 3 days and it's been sitting out in the Virginia heat.
Well, no, this
for
was like, he did this at
3 days.
Gettysburg, but
Oh.
it was also a summer battle, and it was
I was
also,
gonna say also, yeah.
he also got their date, like I'm not sure how much later, but it was days later. I don't know how many days.
Gross.
It's not that much better.
At least that guy was a star.
Yes. Hey, you want to be a star?
You want to be the face of Gettysburg? He said to his ghost.
I know, really.
Now back to present-ish day. In 2008, the Civil War Trust, a division of the American Battlefield Trust, placed Cold Harbor Battlefield on its 10 most endangered battlefields list. Who cares? Development pressure in Richmond area was so great that only about 300 acres of what was once 7,500 acre battlefield are currently preserved as part of the Richmond National Battlefield Park.
Isn't that crazy to you guys that it was that big?
Yeah, that's actually wild.
Yeah, it's like,
Which means for sure that someone's house is on, like, battlefield.
oh yeah.
I mean,
All those, when we were walking, where the people had like posted like no trespassing.
It's all houses.
Yeah, they're on the battlefield.
I mean,
they just fought the battle.
there's lots of battlefields and
forever.
things. It's just this one's documented, and I'm sure there's probably plenty of houses built on Native American battlegrounds that
Well, yeah.
no one knows about because they were battled before the colonials got
Yeah,
here.
we really just found somewhere flat to fight, and that's where you want to build houses, anyways.
I would say mostly what's interesting to me is just the fact that they were like, you're not gonna let us have our 7,500 acres? Rude. We only get 300 acres to preserve.
Which is an
How much do
insane
you
amount
need
of
to
land.
preserve?
Yeah, like, we got the gist of it walking around the 300.
Yeah.
Like,
If anything,
we
that
saw
was a
the
little long.
trenches, we saw the flatland. We can make up the rest in our brains.
Yeah. Hanover County also maintains a small 50-acre park adjacent to the NPS's Cold Harbor holdings. The trust and its partners have acquired and preserved 110 acres of the battlefield.
You're like, hold on, Amanda,
Dude,
I have a
this-
totally separate story.
Those are Union soldiers shooting at us.
I do not think that sounds like chopping wood to me.
It sounds
It's
like
not
guns
chopping
to
wood,
me.
it sounds like construction.
It does not sound like
It
construction.
does
sounds
not
like
either.
sound
gunfire.
Because there's no
people
other
exchanging
noise.
Gunfire, no.
Listen, I'm not saying that it 100% sounds like gunfire. I'm saying that it doesn't sound like any of the things that you guys are saying.
It's 100% sounds like gunfire to me, so
Okay.
that's ghosts.
And I think it's interesting that it like sounds like it's in so many different areas. It's creepy.
Spooky, spooky.
Ookie spooky. Very ookie spooky.
Megan's gonna tell us some interesting facts because as we were walking, well, Megan will fill us in.
So as we were walking around Cold Harbor, we saw like some plaques and other things that had someone named General Thomas Klingman on it. So we texted Lauren to ask if she was related to General Thomas. And she said that he's like a distant uncle, like a great, whatever.
It's so crazy.
And that he was projected by historians to have likely been the next president, but since he was a Confederate general,
They were like,
he was banned from ever being a part of Congress or becoming president. And so, consequences for being on the wrong side of history. Another fun fact that she told us was that after the war, despite Thomas L. Klingman being banned from Congress, he would go and sit on sessions of Congress. So
like a weirdo.
he was a bit obsessed. He was like, you know what? They can take away my right to be a congressman and a president, but I'm gonna show up every day.
It's like,
You can take the Congress from the man, but you can't take the man from the Congress.
That's right.
I'm still relevant.
I'm here. I am listening.
So we just thought that was really interesting facts that she told us, and we asked her permission before including it in the podcast. So, yeah, there's some
I mean, we're good
interesting.
people, not
Yeah.
to brag.
Say yes, but I asked permission.
Yeah, she said no, but
But shh, you guys won't tell, will you?
Sweet baby Lauren. Miss her.
Yes.
If you want, we can read a poem written by Julia Chase for her brother Charles Chase, who died at the battle. He was 23.
Did she write it before
After,
him,
in
or
memory of
in
Charles
memory?
Chase.
Okay.
Make Dama read it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
Well, I'm a great reader,
It's
so.
because we're geniuses, so we think alike.
Yes.
When Amanda and I get together, it's just us complimenting both of us at the same time, essentially complimenting ourselves, but including the other person.
In memory of Charles Chase, how shall we reckon loss? How shall we reckon gain? When bent beneath the cross, when racked with keenest pain. Today we mourn his dead, one 'twas our pride to love. In grief we bow the head, we scarce can look above. We hold our losses great, that one so loved should die. But could we choose his fate, what could we ask more high than bravely thus to stand, contending for the right, striking with patriot hand, oppression in its might. And e'en though doomed to fall, to perish midst the strife, the master of us all, did he not give his life to save a world from sin? Should we not count it gain thus to resemble him? Yet sad is many a heart, our loss we must deplore, and tears unbidden start, thinking he'll come no more. Dear son and brother true, brave comrade and loved friend, we bid thee long adieu, our loss in gain shall end.
So, this is from a friend of his, who was also a soldier. I heard in Andersonville, while there as prisoner, from a member of the 23rd Massachusetts, who had taken prisoner at Cold Harbor, that when the 23rd received the orders to charge, Charles was one of the first to swing his hat with a hooray, or with a hurrah. And the next instance fell with a bullet through his brain.
Oh, like shiny.
You didn't have a scar on the other side, though.
Charles would have escaped
You
that
don't know.
campaign, as he was sick at the time it started, April 26th, and the surgeon told him it was useless to make the attempt.
Wait, he was still alive?
yeah, it was.
No, well, he's talking about previously, he wouldn't have been asked to be in battle because the doctors were like, no, you're sick.
Oh, I see.
So he would have been able to.
He would have gotten out of it. He persisted and went along until May 1st, when he was sent back to the hospital at Hampton, Virginia. I was surprised on returning to camp on the Appomattox River after a day's work on the fortifications, May 12th, to find Charles there. He said the surgeon in charge of the Hampton Hospital was anxious that he should remain there and act as a nurse. But with him, his first thought was to his duty, and not to be classed with the...
Scullions?
Not to be classed with the scullions.
Maybe it's like rapscallions?
No, I think it was someone who probably cleaned like
Aliens, or you mean?
pot. Like, no. like pots of like for like the doctors or something.
Just, like how nurses do.
Oh, like a scullery maid?
Yeah.
I'd get there.
Yeah. As I said before, I knew him well, and the ties of friendship formed by the touch of elbows or sleeping under the same blanket, or perhaps stronger and entirely different from any other ties.
We got a bromance.
No. I'm indebted.
Were they married?
No.
I was thinking as we were walking, I was like, how many soldiers do you think were like, what if we kissed in the trenches?
Baby boy.
Well, we might die tomorrow. So.
So he says, I'm indebted to Charles for many a dainty dish cooked by himself.
And it keeps going.
He was ever thoughtful of others and always ready to lend a helping hand. He was much respected in the company and regiment.
Oh, I'm so sad that they couldn't be together.
There's poor love.
No, star-crossed lovers.
Star-crossed lovers. They're together now as ghosts.
They couldn't have a creep too communal grave.
No.
Just like Romeo and Juliet. So sad.
Because
Like
his
Romeo
friend,
and Romeo.
Yeah.
his friend J.S. Patch is the one who wrote that, and he did not die. At least not then.
He's dead now, though.
Definitely dead now. Yeah, that's all for our history on Cold Harbor. I definitely summarized it because there's a lot of boring battle information and things like that.
It was
We read
hard
that
to
on the
read.
trail.
Yes.
Literally,
I was like,
it's a genuine struggle.
We found the
Like,
good stuff.
yeah.
Yes.
Got to the gay stuff.
And we I know what you like.
That's all
That's
I'm
right,
here for.
baby. That's all I'm here for.
But we can probably look for his grave over there.
Okay.
Charles Chase.
That's
friend.
the one that you were looking for.
I couldn't remember, but so he was Vermont, so he wouldn't have been part of that.
Oh yeah, as we were walking, we got to this Connecticut monument, and Amanda was like, "Can everyone look for Charles Chase?" And we all start listing off any Charles we see, and Amanda's like, "Stop, just stop! You're not helping."
We're like, Charles Smith, Charles Berger, Charles Jackson. She's like, no, Charles Chase. And we're like,
Russell.
Charles England, Charles.
And she's like, "Let's just walk away. Let's just walk away."
Okay, shall we get to our ghosty goose stories?
Yeah.
I'll work out for the day.
Oh, creepy.
Oh gosh.
Alright, so you guys, this battle was crazy. The Union literally had more than double the men lost of the Confederacy. It's very lopsided. So people say that they see a lot of stuff here. Like, there were many things that people report. Some of them have been phantom gunfire, what we're experiencing.
We've experienced it.
Yeah.
Nadine and I are experiencing it.
Exactly.
Even if everyone wants to gaslight us.
Yeah, they're
Still not
negative
convinced.
Nellies.
Could very well be a nail gun. Someone's building a shed in their backyard.
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know.
You know, Amanda, you've never heard phantom gunfire before either, so it could also be that. Except that, Virgo. Right.
No.
But you have never heard it, so you wouldn't know what it sounded like.
I mean, I haven't, but I don't think it's that.
I think it was phantom
Logic
gunfire.
stumped.
Logically, it makes more sense to be power tools
But you cannot
in the
disprove.
distance.
But because you cannot see the ghost, you cannot prove it's not
You
phantom
can't prove that it is
gunfire.
ghost.
Speaking of seeing the ghost, people have seen a bunch of apparitions here and shadow people.
Charles, come to me.
There is a thick fog that rolls in to the battlefield at 1 a.m. every night.
Oh, let's stay here till 1 a.m.
No. We can come back at 1 a.m., but
These
it
people
is
have work
early.
tomorrow
I have work tomorrow. It's at 6
in
o'clock.
the evening.
Yes.
Yeah, but she
I
also
have to
got
be-
a 2-hour drive first.
Yeah.
I have to be at work because I'm working from the office at 8 in the morning.
Very
So.
depressing. So, yeah, we do really wish that we could have come at 1 a.m. That's like, Amanda and I, because we both, obviously since we did the research, we both knew about the 1 a.m. thing, and so we kept, like, talking about how we wish that we kind of could have been here at 1 a.m. But you have to come explore it in the daylight. I mean, like, once we've been here, it'd be one thing to come back at 1 a.m., but without having
can't
been
go
here, it's
tromping through the
crazy.
fields
It's
at
a
1 a.m.
beautiful location, so it's worth it to come out here in the daytime.
Exactly, so we'll just have to trust that the fog comes.
Yeah, and this is why we need to plan club vacations so we can go to places and
Yes, and go rest in our hotel room, and then come back when it's spooky, and yes.
Ookie outside.
Yes, yes.
Ookie spooky.
We need to take some spooky strolls all over states.
Yes.
All right.
All over the world.
Well, yeah, that's the real dream. All right, so someone on YouTube called VA Ghost posted a video about
Oh, they
this.
have credentials.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear it. It's very clear.
It's in their name.
They basically decided that they wanted to come and explore the battlefield at night. So they arranged it with
They
the parks
did it.
department and like had a guide and everything. Super cool.
Oh.
Yeah, very, very cool.
Oh, we can get on that level.
I know. So they've started at like 10 p.m. and as they were going, they suddenly noticed the sound of someone following behind them.
Oh.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Exactly. And so they had been taking pictures already as they went, but after they started to hear the person behind them, then suddenly in their photos, there were little light orbs.
Orbies?
The orbs.
Yeah.
AKA dust.
Orbeez. Amanda.
Which multiplied like crazy the closer they got to the battlefield.
Ah!
The more dust they kicked up.
If you're gonna
Okay.
be a buzzkill, you can go sit in the car. Your car.
She leaves us.
I know. We're like, Megan.
They're going to like kill me. So out of my way. And as they got to the places where like most of the casualties were, that's where like most of the orbs were. And when they started to move away from that area, suddenly the orbs disappeared from the photos they had been taking.
Less dust.
So all this stuff.
Amanda.
The best.
You can't be like this the whole time I'm reading ghost stories. I
Just-
won't
just
have it.
the orbs.
What is with you and... Oh.
Wait, so does this all happen in the other parts that they developed?
No, it was like the battlefield part. Oh,
No,
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
in general.
Probably. Well, people probably aren't documenting it.
Probably aren't like there's orbs all over my house.
I came into my living room and there's just orbs watching TV.
Yeah, which also the part that they like kept and didn't let people develop on is like the bloodiest part, like the part where the most people died and stuff. So it makes sense that it would have more activity.
Yes. More orbs, Amanda.
They suddenly experienced a drop in temperature so noticeable that the whole group stopped in their tracks.
Actually, that's very common on battlefields with ghosts. One of my roommates, she goes to battlefields all the time, and she says it can be in the middle of a summer day, and then all of a sudden you just feel insanely cold.
Yeah, it's a common ghost occurrence. Apparently one time my mom, because my mom liked to take children to haunted places, she took us on this haunted ghost tour in Gettysburg, and she and one of my sisters experienced it, and it was like a crazy hot summer night that we were on this tour, and they just got into a cold spot.
And
Have you
you're
ever-
like, oh gosh.
Not to talk about bodies of water again, but have you ever been in a lake and then you hit a cold spot?
Yes.
And you're like, ah.
And you're like,
That
ghost?
is always interesting.
Fish
I
ghost.
find.
It's the ghost of fish.
Love it. Oh, man. Could really go for a swim. So when that happened and they all stopped, two people in the group started doing an audio recording to see if they could find anything paranormal, and both of those people suddenly started to feel a sharp pain in their side.
Like a bullet.
Someone took a picture of them right at this moment, and it shows an orb beside them.
Oh my gosh, it
Who
was a
was biting
Confederate
them?
soldier.
Stabbing them with a
Confederate
bayonet.
biting
With a bayonet. Union jerk.
just biting their side.
Exactly. So
Maybe.
So they stopped recording and taking pictures for a moment. The pain and the chill both vanished. So then they went to go and leave, and when they got to the parking lot, suddenly, like a fog within moments enveloped like the whole area to the point where they were unable to see the person that was only an arm's length away from them.
Ugh.
Spooky ooky.
Next time we're back in Richmond, can we go at night?
Yeah.
Except we're not in Richmond, we're in Mechanicsville.
Yeah, it is like almost an hour
But
drive.
next time that I am in Richmond,
If we plan enough, we can spend the night at my parents' house.
That's
Yes.
what we were looking for.
I know it was.
We want to
We're
see
like,
the self-portrait. That's really what I'm in it for, is the self-portrait.
I
Ah,
have a self-portrait.
So
that I painted in my
Okay.
house. It's huge. It's like,
it's gonna be great.
And
Yeah,
our parents have
worth
it in a
it.
place of prominence in the home.
it's in the living room.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Ah,
paint a
no, it's
self-portrait.
terrible and I hate it.
I cannot wait to see it.
It will burn.
It's gonna make me super happy.
I'll use my artist eye to critique it.
So as the fog rolls in and they suddenly can't see each other, she looks down at her watch.
Is it 3
1
a.m.?
a.m.
Whoa.
Well, no, because 1 a.m. is when the fog
Oh.
comes in
I
this
was like,
battlefield, like we
witching
talked about
hour,
earlier.
witching
Well,
hour.
33.
Yeah, just Confederates, not witches. little bit worse.
Well, yay, witches, boo Confederates.
Okay, there was so like on this, I think it was actually on this YouTube video that someone left a comment with their ghosty story. This person was jogging there, and they like regularly jogged there. It was like a rainy evening, and suddenly they heard the sound of someone charging up behind them, and like stopped and turned around to defend themselves because they thought the person was like coming up so fast. And when they turned,
No
There was-
one was there.
That is my least
was no one
favorite
there.
thing, disembodied footsteps. I do not like
I don't
that.
like disembodied bodies.
would you rather the
Like
steps or the
seeing-
claps?
Claps I can rationalize away.
No,
Just
you
construction.
can't.
A clap?
No, like right exterior.
right
No,
next to
yeah,
your, like,
no, I don't like that, but I don't know.
I
Footsteps
could
are also
rationalize
upset.
steps a lot better than I can rationalize random
Squirrels.
clapping.
Big boy squirrels
Deer.
not clapping. Deer don't clap.
No, they don't.
Okay, well, how about I just don't like either of them?
That's fair.
There was also another like video collage that someone had put up where they like had driven through it, because you can drive through it also.
Yes.
So like if we do end up coming back at night, we can just drive through it. Like
Yeah,
we saw.
because I'm not gonna get charged by a soldier.
Well,
Yeah.
that's not fun.
Okay, we can walk
I'll
behind our
walk
car.
around with you.
Thank you.
And
I'm afraid of no ghosts.
her last words,
Yeah, because you're like, oh, orbs are dust.
Amanda's asking for it,
Yeah, I know.
which is funny because I know for a fact that Amanda is afraid of ghosts.
I'd
Okay,
only be
well-
really afraid if I really saw one.
Well, yeah,
I
that's what
vote
you gotta
for-
imagine.
Then
I'll
I
be
would.
in the car.
Then I would have a complete break with reality, and I'd have to be institutionalized.
Fine,
I'd
we'll
come see
visit
you.
you.
Let's see.
We'll visit you. But
You
we
wouldn't have
will
to
say,
work.
I told you so.
You wouldn't have to work. You
They
wouldn't
give
have
you
to cook.
pudding.
You could just watch shows all day.
Maybe you
You'd
should
be living the
institutionalized.
life. You gotta have good insurance though.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
So you
scratch
gotta
that.
keep it together then, Amanda. Keep that brain
Yeah,
intact.
yeah.
But I'll go walking with you, so I can help you rationalize it away.
All right.
You can always jump in the
Sacrifice.
car
For
if you need to.
sanity.
No, you can't. If you make your bed, you have to lie in it.
You're like, no jumping
If
in
you're
the
gonna
car.
walk around and
Then
let
you're
the ghost
committed to
feast
it.
on your sides, then they gotta feast.
Okay. Good to see a Confederate thing. Well,
Ghost got a feast.
The ghost gotta feast.
gotta do a bite.
Little known fact: Confederates were also cannibals.
I can believe it.
It doesn't matter if it's right or wrong because they were racist, so I don't care.
Would be the second worst thing about them.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, if those ghosts don't stop firing their guns,
Right?
there they go again.
I bet it isn't picking it up either.
I
'Cause
hope
it's
it
like
is.
in the
Yeah.
distance. I hope it is, but I bet
They're
it's
gonna,
not.
we're gonna be sound totally crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. But so in that person's collage, there were also several orbs in the picture, and they weren't out there kicking up dust.
Their car was.
It was way in the distance. These orbs.
Where's the
Amanda.
dust on their
these
paved
orbs
roads?
Were in the battlefield.
We're outside. It's pollen.
Wait.
It's
Was
not
it?
pollen.
Was it in the summertime?
I don't know what the
Fireflies.
video collage. It wasn't fireflies. From how it looked, I can tell you that for sure. There was someone named Odell Green who was visiting the park by herself in 2010
That's why you have a buddy.
when she clearly heard a voice telling her to halt. But looking, saw no one.
Nope. That's when I would turn back and drive myself home.
You wouldn't
But yeah,
help?
she was filled with so much fear that she left and has never returned to the battlefield.
Yep. Good call.
You wouldn't just halt?
It was during the daytime?
Why?
night?
You
I
want
don't
me
know.
to stop
Okay.
so that the ghost can get me?
Yeah.
That's what you want.
No.
The
No.
cannibal Confederate ghost is gonna
Yeah.
eat me.
Cannibal Confederate ghost.
Let's see. So, okay, interesting fact. Like how Amanda talked about how these bodies were mostly left because we're like, oh, it's too much. Most of them were eventually moved from the battlefield because farmers needed to use the land. Like,
Not
you're gonna have
because
to.
they wanted to bury him, but yo, my cow can't eat here if Jimmy's body is laying right here.
Yeah, and guess what they say? They say it's usually those who were not properly interred that are most likely to have restless spirits.
Makes
They mad.
That's why it's such a haunted
Does
battlefield.
interred mean buried?
Yes.
Yeah, properly interred would be like put in a cemetery or something with like a little bit more decency.
Yeah, which this is just like a random fact that I learned while I was going through it is the coins on the military graves, which like we had talked about a little bit, is that apparently it's a thing in military graveyards that if you're going to visit, then you put a penny if you're just like showing your respect. You put a nickel if you were in training with them, a dime if you were if you were in their regiment, like served with them, or a quarter if you were there when they were killed in action.
We love insects.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was
that
pretty
is quite
interesting.
Then you can catalog who's been there.
Yeah, yeah. In a little bit when we go to the graveyard, we intend to like put little like flowers and stuff, and I love it. I love graveyards. I love going and like reading and like just thinking about the people, and like especially people like this where it's been so long that it's like people aren't thinking about them anymore mostly. It's just sad. Oh yeah, we went past a stream called Bloody Run. Dahmer's laughing. She
can't handle the cicada right now.
Yeah, good time for her to laugh though. We almost sacrificed her in Bloody Run. That was our joke as we kept walking.
But we forgot the sacrifice knife.
Yeah. Oh, this was just something that the person said that I thought was kind of funny. And they were like, "It's difficult terrain made trench warfare a hot and miserable experience." And I was like, "That's true of all Virginia summers. Hot and miserable
experience.
Yeah. I was like, I feel that. I like it. There was an account of a Union soldier's journal, and in it, the last entry said, June 3rd, Cold Harbor. I was killed.
That's weird.
Spooky.
A friend wrote it in for him.
Who knows? We don't know. We weren't there.
Maybe he wrote it as he was dying.
Or
I
is it
think
like
he
a
wrote it
premonition?
when he was a ghost.
It would have been a really creepy premonition.
Yep. Got up that day and was like, I was killed. Closed it.
And then he went and got himself killed.
Oh, you know what is another thing that people claim? They claim to feel the boom of artillery fire sometimes when they're
Oh.
here.
That's interesting.
That would be fun.
Or to smell burned gunfire or
Fireworks.
We just smelled dog poop.
Yeah. Some people hear like horses coming up behind them, which I was like, man, even the horses haunt in this battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, they died traumatically in ways that is not natural.
Some people have heard like the shouts and cries from men who are nowhere to be found. Oh yeah, one couple while at the battlefield was drawn to a spot where they had heard cannon fire. As they were taking pictures, the feeling suddenly grew within both of them that they were being watched by a ghost. And then suddenly a mist, like an inexplicable mist, came and scared them away. They were like, ah, pass.
Fast. I got a cold spot.
Oh.
It's the wind.
Called the wind.
Oh, so some people have even claimed to be briefly possessed here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pass.
Dahmer!
That almost
was-
happened.
There was a paranormal investigator named Mark Nesbitt, and this is just a straight quote from him. He said, I got to the highest point of the arched bridge and suddenly was stopped. I didn't stop, I was stopped, and looked to my left down into the remnant of the Confederate trench. I heard myself say, something awful happened to me right here. I didn't think it, I said it out loud. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, where's that bridge?
Who knew? We couldn't find it. We tried.
It was a ghost bridge.
Ghost bridge.
Only it's found if it wants to be found.
Another person who was standing where Colonel Tompkins was shot in the head, this one guy who was standing there suddenly felt an excruciating pain in his own skull.
Yikes.
This one's pretty interesting. This is the one that like goes with where we are right now. So the Garthrite House was used as a Union field hospital, and during that time the family was pushed into the basement with their children and everything, and they would hear like the screams of the men as they were being amputated and dying and being brought in, and the blood would even trickle down like into the basement.
Ew.
Ew.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and it would trickle down and then like splatter on the floor and stuff.
Gross.
Yeah. There
Seems unhygienic.
I bet, maybe.
Could you imagine the smell?
Gosh, ew.
The irony blood smell?
never gonna get that out of the house after all that.
And it's gonna be so hot.
yeah.
It's gonna just feel. It's gonna be humid with the blood.
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, so, and this house was owned by a Confederate soldier. Which, I mean, of course it was, but I just think that's, like, an interesting thing to think about. Like, that it was used as a Union hospital, but, like, owned by a Confederate soldier, and so it would just make even more sense as far as, like, why some people think that, like, some of the family haunts here and things like that.
Because they're mad about their house getting taken by the enemy.
Pretty much. So there is a little girl that supposedly haunts these grounds.
We just heard her.
I mean, we did hear a little child. So the little girl, basically, there are like two different kind of theories about it. One is that she was a member of the family, was one of the kids, and because her childhood home was used in this way and she couldn't like enjoy it then, that she died when she was little, and that now she like runs around because she can finally enjoy her childhood home again. The other is that a local grave digger, because there are like 97 soldiers buried in the front lawn of this area.
Yeah. Walking over a lot of those boys.
And so I guess her dad was out there digging the grave, and she was playing around in the house and somehow fell out of one of the top windows and died. Which is like legend, not history more. But that she is like the one who walks around and haunts it. So people will say that they've seen her like standing up in the window, dressed in white with a bonnet.
I can't see anything through those windows though, so.
I'm scared.
Go closer,
I don't wanna
Dahmer.
look.
Oh yeah, there was someone else who even saw her skipping in circles on the front lawn. And people will also see her over at the graveyard across the street. And when people have reported, like when they see her over there, that she's either like despondent and like really sad, or she'll be like super like childlike happiness, just like running all around, which I thought was interesting. Oh, at the cemetery, people have said that they'll see the lights flicker randomly. There was a guy named John Stevens who had heard about this little girl ghost and found himself very curious. So he came right to where we're sitting right now, and he sat at this picnic table with his spirit box, which is basically
So annoying.
basically like a radio that just scans really fast through the stations.
Yeah, exactly.
My
like
spirit
Accurate.
box impression.
Accurate.
So loud.
Very.
And just like started asking questions, trying to get to know her and things like that. He couldn't get anything concrete, so then he was just taking some pictures and walking around. When he was on the side of the house that's nearest the woods, he said, "Little girl, are you with me?" And clear as day, he heard "penny free" something. Like, he couldn't quite make out the last part, but like as if it was saying a name. So her name might be Penny, which makes sense because like he listened to the recording a bunch of times, couldn't quite make out the last name, but he did a ton of research trying to figure out. He was like, Penny who? Like, who is this little girl? And so he looked deep into the genealogy, tried to go through all the historical records, couldn't find her, but he never mentioned in here knowing that like the legend of her being the gravedigger's daughter. And so like it would make sense if that were true, that he like the last name wouldn't match, and that's why he wouldn't have been able to find her.
Yeah.
Possibly. So he's gone back several times and hasn't been able to spend as much time as he did the first time. But he once went to the cemetery and said, "Is Penny with me?" And he heard a little girl say, "What is it?"
Creepy.
So her name is probably Penny.
Oogly spookly.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, so that is the ghost lore. Cold Harbor.
So good.
Yeah.
So now we are going to head over to the graveyard and
Find Penny. And Charles.
Charles Chase.
you guys, you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Movie Clubcast and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. See you next movie night, and don't forget, there are only 26 days till Halloween. Bye.
What are you doing?
There's a caterpillar in my bag, but
Trying to like get it out without killing it.
We're really outside, guys.
Love a good airplane.
that's a
Just like
We
in
are
Creep.
near the airport.
this is an authentic Civil War era airplane flying over our heads right now. The Confederate soldiers actually flew it.
It's like it's circling us.
I told you the airport's close by, so it's slowing down and lowering its altitude, which is why we hear it.
Only the Confederates are circling us.
Confederates are circling us.
And I'm gonna need you to pay attention to the story, or you're
I'm
gonna get
paying
kicked out of
attention.
class.
I'm paying
Lose my
attention.
mind.
Are you? Just let her do what she needs to do.
I don't understand what I'm doing wrong.
This is an interesting one, not the annoying one that we watched. At the
Oh
graveyard.
yeah, oh screw those people. It was so obnoxious. I
Sounds
watched
like
this
they
one
won't even
thing.
get a mention in the podcast.
No, I don't think that they said anything useful at all. Also, you could not hear them whatsoever, and they were walking with their shaky cam
The
and just
camera
saying
on their phone was
nonsense.
going,
And it was insane. Like literally, it was going so much. That's the reason that Amanda knows about it. Is I sent it to her, and I was like, are the gravestones moving, like wiggling, or have I just been up too late researching? Amanda was like, it's just like an optical illusion.
Yeah.
Wait.
But it looked like they were like dancing.
Cute dance party.
So VA Ghost.
I'm going to Ashland after this, so...
Oh, you are.
You can make a pit stop.
What are you gonna go do?
I'm gonna go swim in a pool.
Oh, jealous.
Didn't invite me?
It's not my place to invite
I'm
anybody.
gonna pretend not to be depressed now, so keep reading.
All of a sudden, Nadine cuts it, and then the girls.
I'm not even excited at all.
There wasn't a pool, so.
I've never wanted to swim.
I'm sorry.
swimming. Yeah, you guys might not know this, but literally every body of water we've ever been to, I'm like, can I just jump in here? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I always want to
The
swim.
Even in the
The
middle
answer
of
is
the
typically
night
no.
when we go over to
in
Mackenzie's
like
house.
January. Remember when we went to the beach in
The three of
January?
us are huddled
like-
together.
Like snuggled in, and Nadine's in the ocean, and she's like, we're all like, Nadine, don't get in the water, and she's like, I might get in the water, and
Oh,
we're
it
like,
makes me
Nadine,
so
do
happy.
not get in the water.
I wish I could have.
I did legitimately think that you had jumped in because
you
there was
I mean, it is a
Disappeared.
thing that I would do.
because
She
there
did
was
disappear, right?
there was a drop off.
Yeah,
And
Then
so
you just disappeared and it looked like
and
you
it was
just
like-
dived in.
it did.
Yeah.
It exactly looked
not
like you had
inaccurate.
dived in.
But no, I only got
Like,
wet
oh.
like up to like my thighs. Like it wasn't even bad.
Right. It was only January,
What
and
can I
we
say?
all were huddled.
The sand
Even
was
our
colder
warm-blooded
than ice.
Megan.
I know.
Who said that he'd
better
heard
don't.
in
What's she trying to do?
She's trying to kick me.
did not.
And then she actually did.
Dahmer.
Sorry, I apologize.
so this is from a friend of his.
Okay. Do you two need to be separated?
Why did I do that silently?
It was silent.
No, but I looked up when she pitched you.
But it was silent.
Oh my gosh.
Children.